Hello, hello. So, I had some friends over last night and it inspired me to make another one of these videos. I also have the damn door open blowing some cold air in here, so it's not so damn hot. I noticed last time when I did this, it was so hot that it was scrambling my brain and I was losing track of what I was talking about just because I was like, my body was sort of working harder than it needed to. So hopefully that'll be different when it's a little bit cooler in here. Anyway, so I had some friends over last night, and we were talking, and I realized that they hadn't been exposed. I don't think, anyways, that they've been exposed to the real money makers of the world. And I have a little bit of exposure to that. Mainly through real estate stuff and some insurance people, but you don't really, you may not realize that it's possible or that it's even out there until you really see it with your eyes, because seeing is believing, right? So the gist of what happened was we were talking about some I think he was a psychotherapist and he charges $150 an hour, which was, in the minds of someone who doesn't know any better, in the minds of someone who's only ever had a job, if in the minds of someone who hasn't met people who work crazy ass deals and make a ton of money, that's a lot of money, right? So if I'm trading my time for money, and that's how my brain operates when it perceives like making money and doing this kind of stuff, $150 an hour is pretty damn high, because most jobs are only like $30 an hour at max, and well, where I live anyways, you don't really get more than that unless you just slave away and become your employer's slave, and then maybe you'll make a nice salary, six-figure salary or whatever. And then you're miserable and you want to fucking kill yourself. Anyway, so I brought up my aunt because I was trying to portray something to them. I was trying to portray, like, that's not that much money. You think that's a lot of money, but that's because you haven't met the people who do the high-level shit, right? So my aunt has been working in the insurance field for a long time. I think specifically Medicare. So she's sort of niched down to Medicare, right? You got insurance and then you got Medicare. So she's niching down. But there was a new insurance company that was coming into the field somehow. It's somewhere in California. I don't know where. I don't really know those details. I just know she negotiated herself into a position to consult with them. And she charged them $500 an hour. $500 an hour. You might think, whoa, that's so much money. But even that is really not that much money. Like, she makes a lot of money, but compared to some of the people I've met, she makes fucking nothing. Compared to the 8-figure people who make like 8-figure shit off of real estate deals that they get a year, like, she ain't making shit. She ain't even making 7 figures, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. If she is, she's really low 7 figures. So even that, in comparison to the best of the best, right? That's how I look at things. Like, yes, that's a good amount of money. Yes, you'll be like set for the rest of life if you're making that much money. This camera's a little bit tilted. Whatever. But what about Jeff fucking Bezos? What about Elon Musk? Why don't if we're going to compare ourselves to someone else, why not compare ourselves to the best? That's what we should do, right? If we want to be really hyper competitive. So how are they able to afford $500 an hour? Holy shit, that's so much money. Because the insurance company is coming in with like $5 million. They're coming in with $10 million. And guess what? They're only going to hire her for like 30 hours. What's 500 times 30? My brain is not working. Holy shit, 15 grand. They pay her 15 grand out of like 5 million. This is how businesses form. This is venture capitalist kind of shit, where they get investors who have a ton of capital and they line them all up and they wind up with like $10 million or whatever. Or they get 1 or 2, depends on who their investors are. So when they're coming in with $10 million or more, I have no idea what the hell they came in with, but I know it's going to be millions, because you need that much money in order to, if you want to start an actual insurance provider, you want to provide insurance, you need a shitload of money. It's really expensive. So they'll pay her 15 grand and she'll consult them through the whole process. She'll do it all for them. She'll give them the whole game plan for 15 grand because she's done it before. That's why she can do it. She's done it for 15 grand. That ain't shit. You think that's anything compared to the guys who are like, hey, we have 5 million on the table? She probably could have charged like 4 times that, and they still would have said yes. So what is that? 60 grand? Whatever. That ain't shit compared to the 5 million coming in with, right? But you need to budget it, and you need to structure it out accordingly, right? You need to know how much you're going to need for marketing. You need to know how much you're going to need to like hire people to start up. All this kind of shit. So anyway, there are levels to this game. The game of money. There are levels to this, and you have like job, and then you have like self-employment, and then you have like business, and then you have like I own assets that pay for themselves, and I don't have to work for these assets. My business runs itself, right? And then you have like I negotiate with big insurance companies, like up here, way the fuck. I negotiate with the government. This big shit. That's high level shit. I work deals with people. I know how to like point A, point B, and I know how to get in the middle of that and make a ton of money. That's a lot of fucking money. Once you start doing that shit, it's a lot of money. So, an easy example to use to sort of demonstrate this and illustrate this is Jordan Peterson, just because I just know how he evolved and all that, and everyone sort of understands how he evolved. I'm sure he did fine as a clinical psychologist. I'm sure he did fine as a clinical psychologist. He probably made like $150 an hour too, right? Cool. I'm sure he did fine as a university professor. 6 figures, easily, right? Do you think that's like, oh, that's not like that's a lot of money? It may not be a lot of money compared to the guy making, 200 million, but so what? He's doing fine. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to, and that's the key word. He doesn't need to make more. That's the key fucking word. But if you know what money can do for you, you know that it can expand your kingdom, then you want to make more money. There's a big difference, right? And that's powerful. If you know how to do that, it's powerful. That's where the real power lies. That's where the real influence lies. If you ask me anyways, that's where the majority of these things lie. So he started, I think this is his path. Clinical psychologist, university professor, YouTube content influencer kind of guy. So when he blew up on YouTube, I can guarantee you that his ad revenue from YouTube videos kicked the shit out of his university salary. And he didn't even have to friggin' work for it. He didn't have to work for it. The video's already made. He can just keep making videos and keep scaling the business, right? If that's going to be your business model, you want to transition over to YouTube, just make videos. That's it. The hell of a lot easier than being a fucking professor. Number one, it's easier. Number two, you're influencing more people, right? You're not just dealing with a bunch of goddamn like 19-year-old college kids, 22-year-old college kids who don't know anything. Like 90% of them don't give a rat's ass about what they're being taught. Like 50% of them, whatever, right? You're not dealing with that shit. You're dealing with the world. Here's like your tiny little university, a little blip on the map. Here's like the state or whatever country that you're in and teaching in. Here's the fucking world. Whoa! Boom. Way more influence. Way bigger scale, right? Way more responsibility too. Anyway, so he started doing YouTube stuff. He blew up on YouTube, and then what did he do? He started going around touring and speaking, right? So you have to rent out a venue. I don't know how much money that is. I don't know what that looks like. I know what smaller venues are. It's like a few $100 at most for like a day. But those big like auditoriums where you have like 500 seats or whatever, that's probably like $5,000 or something. $3,000, $4,000. I don't know. So he has to rent out the venue. He has to talk with the person, or someone has to talk with the person who's going to communicate with the venue owner. Someone has to do that. You have to make videos, right, to advertise what you're doing. I assume, or Twitter, you have to make Twitter posts. Either way, it's not that big. That's not that difficult, right? The key is you have to use your existing influence in order to market yourself and let people know that you are going to be speaking so that they can buy tickets, right? That's marketing and sales, sort of in the same boat. The person who owns the venue has to know that you're controversial because you're Jordan Peterson, right? So they might get bomb threats, death threats. You have to know that too. When you're talking with him, you might get canceled. He might cancel your ass and cancel all your shit and throw you into this state of madness. You have to be prepared for that, and you have to know what you're getting yourself into. So does the person who owns the auditorium. Like, all this shit needs to be set up. This bridge needs to be built. There needs to be a bridge built. And it's not enough to just be one little fucking plank, right? This is the business, the bridge. This is an employee, a fucking plank. Here's another employee, another plank, another plank, another plank. And then it creates the bridge that is the business. Do you want to work on that bridge yourself? Do you want to build that entire bridge all on your own? Or do you want to hire motherfuckers? Boom, put that plank in. Boom, put that plank in. Boom, put that plank in. That's where the money is. See? The person who's working on the bridge makes money, but the guy who structures the building of the bridge is the one who makes the real dough. That's the one who makes the real money, right? So back to Jordan Peterson. Let's just say he has to spend $5,000 per venue in terms of like paying shit, marketing shit, flying out there, all that shit. I don't have no idea what it costs. I'm just ballparking $5,000. And let's say it costs 3 hours of time per venue. When you average it all out, it's 3 hours of time per venue. So you can expect to make, boom, 50 grand from this venue. Boom, 50 grand from this venue. Boom, 50 grand from this venue. What do you think? Is that more than $150 an hour? Is that more than $500 an hour? Is that more than when you get to that point, it doesn't really fucking matter how you calculate your time to money ratio. It really doesn't. It becomes useful to calculate your time to money ratio, I would say, when you're taking on too many tasks in your business. When you're doing too much shit in your business and all of a sudden you find yourself working like 60 hours a week, it becomes useful to calculate how much you're making out of it. So if you're spending 60 hours a week, but then when it comes down to it, you're only making $40 an hour, that sucks. If you can hire stuff out, right? If you can delegate responsibilities, yeah, you're going to take a pay cut, but then you redo that calculation, I guarantee you it'll be higher. You'll probably be more like, if you can automate a business to where you only need to put a few hours of work into it a month, not a week, a month, you're going to be making like thousands of dollars an hour. So that's the way that you want to think. You don't really want to think, how can I exchange my time for money? You want to think, how can I leverage the skills that I have, the experiences that I have, and how do I create something valuable for other people? Whatever it is, it does. You have something valuable. You have a skill that's useful, or an experience that's interesting, a life that's interesting. Your life is unique to you. Your experiences are unique to you. People are interested in that shit. They want to hear about that. They want to be educated. People are bored. They want to be entertained. So the question is, what do you have that's special about you? There are plenty of speakers out there. There's plenty of speakers. Not all of them do as well as Jordan Peterson. Why? Because they're not Jordan Peterson. They're not Jordan Peterson. Plenty of clinical psychologists. Plenty of university professors. Why aren't they as valuable? Because they're not Jordan Peterson. It's not the fact that they're I'm XYZ position. It's the fact that he's fucking Jordan Peterson. That's what makes him valuable. The gold lies within. The gold lies within you. The gold is not some title or some status. The gold is within you and what you can do, what your skills are. That is where the gold lies. That's where the real money is. So, same thing. You can take any of these people. You can take fucking David Goggins. David Goggins isn't valuable and famous because he was a Navy SEAL. He's not even, he's sort of really valuable because of his insane tenacity, sort of, but that's because that's who he is. That's who David Goggins is. He's pure balls and pure tenacity, and it's a fucking marvel to behold because he defies reality. So we think, right? He defies our reality. Our perception of reality becomes fucked because he says, I ran 100 miles with only a week to prep for it, and I couldn't even run a mile before that. Like, that fucks with your head. And it's like, oh my God, I thought I knew the truth, but I didn't. And this guy showed it to me, right? That's what makes him valuable. He's not valuable because whatever, right? He's valuable because he's David Goggins. The gold lies within. So that's what, like, if you want to play the money game and you want to be the best of the best of the best, you have to develop yourself and your own skills. It's not about obtaining some kind of title. It's not about attaining some kind of status. Shit. It's about developing this, what I'm doing right now. This is a skill. I know how to speak in front of a camera. You can do sales videos with this. You can do like YouTube ranty shit like what I'm doing now with this. Those people like can make a lot of money, right? Depending on how good you are and how, interesting and how experienced you are. So that's how you level up in this place. Like, you don't just wake up one day and it's like, oh, look, I know how to do video sales. No, you have to fucking go practice it and develop it. You don't just wake up one day. Like, okay, now I'm a clinical psychologist and I still don't know how to make YouTube videos. I still don't know how to speak in front of an audience. I still don't know really how to market myself or sell myself. I don't know. I'm not really good at that. I'm not really good at influencing people. Like, those things have nothing to do necessarily with being a clinical psychologist. Maybe if you're self-employed, right? But you have to. It's if it's not enough to just be, an employee at some fucking therapist's office, right? It's not enough to just be that. I need to have my own practice. Okay, here's being the therapist at the clinical practice. Here's having your own practice. Here's having your own clinic and hiring out people. And here is like other shit, right? So what else? It's not enough to just join the military, right? I want to get into special forces. Okay. But then I want to be like David Goggins. This fucking crooked camera. I want to be like David Goggins. David Goggins gets into special forces. But not everyone in special forces is David Goggins, right? He stands out even among those who stand out. That's hard, man. You have to work on that. You have to develop yourself. That's fucking hard. That's not easy. The bridge, right? The business is a bridge. Do you have any idea how much work and how many skills are involved in making that bridge? I talked about this in the video I made before. There's so much shit that goes into making a business. Becoming some kind of title or status doesn't get you there. That's not what gets you there. Developing skills is what gets you there. If I'm a clinical psychologist, I don't know how to work a deal to create my own clinic necessarily. I have to learn that, or I have to hire someone who knows that. I have to get a consultant, right? I have to pay him a lot of money in order to do that, and it would be worth it because he would streamline the whole process and he would save me from a lot of failures, right? That's valuable. There's value in that. When you fail, you know what not to do, and that's freaking valuable as hell. You can consult people and guide people who want to do whatever it is that you're doing. So that's I think that's about it. That's about it in terms of what I'm thinking. I just felt inspired to make this because people are out there, and I know people are out there. I just talked with 2 of them last night, right? There's people out there, and they don't know. They don't know this stuff because they haven't been exposed to it. If they've been exposed to, like, my uncle's a lawyer and he makes a lot of money at his job, right? I have an uncle who's a doctor, and he owned his own, I think it was a hospital or a clinic or something. I don't know. He was big time, made a shitload of money. But he also learned money itself, which sort of leveled him up. Anyway, I can see my kids running around outside, and I'm going to go play with them. Ciao.